Running out of oil has bigger consequences than just not being able to drive your car or watch TV. By using another energy source, this would not be an issue. My friend's father is an environmental chemist, so I grew up around the idea to value the environment. Power and use of energy sources are topics of global concern and touch every citizen on the globe. We must assume responsibility for the generation, use, disposal of energy that will affect our air and power. It was a milestone for the nuclear energy industry on February 9, 2012, to allow a Georgia utility company to build 2 new nuclear reactors, the first approved in 30 years. The last time the Nuclear Regulatory Commission granted a license to build a new plant was in 1978. To understand what nuclear energy would provide, we'll observe the current energy sources that are economically and environmentally unfavorable. Next, I'll explain the advantages of nuclear energy, and last, visualize how solutions for nuclear energy will be implemented. First, let us look at why certain energy sources are unfavorable. The primary sources of energy in the United States are coal and fossil fuels, and they are economically and environmentally unfavorable when compared to nuclear power. If the flow of fossil fuels to the United States was ever cut off, the economy would come to a halt. There would be no way to transport products to factories, and no way for people to drive to work. According to the United States Census Bureau, the average American household uses approximately 800 to 1,000 gallons of oil per year, costing about $4,000 just to heat a home. In the United States, estimates of annual fossil fuel costs range from $10 billion to $52 billion. The global market for oil is increasing, and the coal sources are depleting. Coal, oil, and gas consist largely of carbon and hydrogen, creating a high amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, making them contributors to the greenhouse effect. In 2010, CO2 accounted for about 84% of all U.S. greenhouse gas emissions. It's reported that there were a 29% increase in global CO2 emissions from fossil fuels between 2000 and 2008. Luckily, there's a simple solution to have the most beneficial energy source. Nuclear energy should be recognized as a superior energy source. Nuclear energy is more economical than the energy from coal and fossil fuels. It gives more energy per unit ore. Uranium is more economical to mine and process than coal. According to the health hazards and not going nuclear, the cost of a kilowatt-hour of nuclear power was 50% cheaper than fossil-fired powers. More energy can also be extracted from uranium than from oil or coal. Nuclear energy is far superior to coal and oil from the environmental standpoint. Since nuclear power plants do not burn fuel, they do not emit combustion byproducts which contribute to air pollution. According to the Nuclear Energy Institute, in 2011, U.S. nuclear plants prevented from the discharge of 174 metric tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. The emissions from the nuclear plant are strictly monitored, regulated, and limited by EPA laws, while the emissions of coal and other fossil fuel plants are unregulated. We can now visualize how the solution for nuclear energy will be implemented. The Nuclear Energy Institute would verify that the use of nuclear power will decrease airborne toxins, reduce greenhouse gases, and be economically advantageous to the United States. By informing Americans of the beneficial aspects of nuclear energy, they will understand why nuclear energy should be the primary energy source used in this country. If we continue to use coal and fossil fuels, we are neglecting a viable energy resource, knowingly polluting the air, and costing American taxpayers undue amounts of money. Arguments against nuclear energy include the statement that radioactive nuclear waste is too threatening to human health. Nuclear waste does not pose a significant threat to human in comparison to all the other radiation sources to which we are exposed to every day, including television, X-rays, UV rays, and fuel emissions. According to the catalog of risks, having a full-fledged nuclear power program in the U.S. would add the same risk as a regular smoker would in indulging in a cigarette every day for 15 years. Finally, there are actions that can be done in order to achieve these solutions. The specific steps you can take include: write to your congressman, become informed by visiting the DOE, INEEL, or NEI website. Become a conservative energy user. In closing, nuclear energy should become the primary energy source in the future. So I have given you the current unfavorable energy sources, the advantages of nuclear energy, and we visualized how the solutions for nuclear energy could be implemented. Nuclear energy has provided the world with clean, reliable source of energy for decades, and as our society moves into the 21st century, it demands an increase. So relax and enjoy 35% of electricity that you get from nuclear energy today.